Hey, good Friday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Friday market wrap up. And man, what a obviously doesn't need to be said, but I'll say it anyway. What an incredible week it has been. We've never experienced anything like this in the history of our republic. It seems like we might kind of maybe be pulling out of the nosedive. I don't know. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Do me a favor, real quick. Head to Facebook and go over to Top Gun Fighter Foundation and throw us a like. We're getting content up on the page. Well, and with the federal government should be shut down right now, but the president is fiddling while Washington burns. Still waiting for IRS approval. Really makes it. They make it near impossible for you to do good work for your fellow man and woman. It's insane. So we're sitting here waiting for IRS approval, and people ain't jumping obviously through their ass right now to work if you're in the IRS. But more info to come. But folks, I'm going to be taking a significant portion of the at a certain point it's like too much money, and I never thought I'd say that in my life. I want to punch myself in the face. But into this foundation to help others, to help veterans who are getting destroyed. They were having struggles before, 22 veterans killing themselves a day. Now you can't even get in the VA. The last number I saw was 100 infected at VA hospitals across the country. My God, man. It's like I've said, I did my Paul Revere 2 months ago that this was coming. And we're going to get to what's going on in this country today. I think 4 United States senators should be doing a perp walk in Washington right now. It's an absolute disgrace. I did shoot a quick little video. Maybe you guys watched. Getting positive feedback on doing these things, so I guess I'll keep it up. But let's get into this. And real quick, so I mean, it's absolutely insane. So Senator Burr, Senator Loeffler, you know who she's married to? Like the head of the New York Stock Exchange, and she's one of the richest people in America. James Inhofe, California, Dianne Feinstein, the witch from California, Richard Burr. He's the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. The dude got a secret briefing, January, whenever it was, 24th, and sold stock with both hands. He's claiming he relied solely on public news reports and CNBC. This is an absolute disgrace. And ladies and gentlemen, he's the head of the Intel Committee, dumped all this stuff, bailed out of the stock market. Tucker Carlson last night laid into him. He's demanding they all need to resign today, or they should be arrested. Insider trading. How about their staffs? If you think that's what the senators may have allegedly done, what do you think their staffs are doing when they hear all this information? This piece of shit, Richard Burr, at the same time he was dumping stock, wrote an op-ed. What the hell's here it is. He wrote an op-ed. America was better prepared than ever for the coronavirus. Everything's fine. Remain calm. Don't panic. I'm just going to sell all my stocks. This is America, folks. You think I'm shitting you about potential civil unrest? 20% unemployment, and your elected politicians that knew this was bad, knew this was horrific, dumped all their stocks. You want to know what Uncle Wiz did? I opened this up to the public. Now you can go see look at me, 22 January, in the accelerated retirement brief, time to go to cash, get long volatility, and long S&P 500 puts. Let's go to the chart. January 22nd is right there. I told you this was going to happen, folks. Bunch of people, you're a jackass, and you're trying to panic people and stuff like that. Oh, really? TGO member, time for us to take a seat and watch others play musical chairs. I feel the music is getting ready to stop, and I want my chair now. Cash is a great position. Markets are at all-time highs on a run not since I was a year. Remember this? It's not. Remember that used to be like a straight up line. Now because of this, it's like flat. Remember the market going like straight up? The last time we had a run like that, uninterrupted, I was literally 1 year old. Here it is, folks. And I'm telling you, this China virus is going to get much worse. I open this brief up to the public. It's on my Facebook. It's on YouTube. Go watch it. So as I was doing my Paul Revere moment, trying to help you, these son of a bitches were lying to you and saying everything was fine, and they were dumping stock. You want to talk about civil unrest? We've made a fortune, and I'm pissed that they did this. Absolute disgrace. This is getting dangerous, folks. China, 95% of our medication comes from China. They own $1.3 trillion in debt, and we're going through a pandemic. You want to talk about a strategically disabled country? That's us right now. What are we going to do? We got nukes. What if Xi picked up the phone and said, "Hey, Donald, you called the China virus again. I want my $1.3 trillion back. And by the way, you ain't getting an aspirin from this country." This isn't a Tom Clancy novel, folks. You're living in it. Apparently, the president next calls for a larger scale attack on Iran proxies. Remember the last time Iran killed our troops? The president leveled them. A week and a half ago, they killed 2 more U.S. soldiers and a Brit. And we kind of lobbed a couple grenades at them. He said the COVID. So now our enemies know that the president ain't going to do anything. I will repeat what I've been repeating for 2 months, and Dr. Fauci now says, so I feel good. When it comes to a pandemic, I use the word potential back here. Like, folks, I'm like, when it comes to a potential pandemic, it's probably better to overreact and not underreact. Underreacting gets people killed. And here we are. Market's starting to pick up steam. That's why I wanted to wait to shoot this as well, because here's the S&P chart for the day. And we broke the lows of the day. That press conference was awful. So we broke 2360. That was an important level. And here we go. I mean, hell, I had 2300 disaster puts on. They ain't over yet, man. The president's got to get a handle on himself. You ready for this? Yeah. Hang on. Let me go at the beginning here. I want you to watch Dr. Fauci. Measured man. I'm not listening to a word the president says. I know for a fact, and I'm not going to divulge my sources. I've flown with people I trust my life with that tried to get the warning out. I know the man was briefed on all of this. Donald Trump, and again, I can't even unflatten this chart here. Donald J. Trump got a trade deal. Beat the hell out of China for 18 months in the submission. We got a phase 1 trade deal. Victory lap. How about at the signing ceremony? Remember that? That seems like 18 years ago, man. A signing ceremony. They played Hail to the Chief. He walked in. He went around the room for over an hour. It was a disgrace. He went around the room for over an hour. Hey, Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan. How you? Stand up, Jamie. Oh, and what's your name? From Boeing. The 4 Chinese dudes like stood on stage for an hour, not even understanding a word the president's saying. It was a disgrace. Got a trade deal. Nancy, Chuck tried to impeach him, got acquitted. Market at all-time highs, unemployment at record lows, minorities. And a dude or a lady comes up to you and says, "Mr. President, there's a pandemic that accidentally got released from the Wuhan level 4 biological weapons facility in China. It's bad, and it's probably going to break out around the world." How do you think that dude would react? You know him as well as I do. My sister knows him, and she's like, that's who he is. That's him. There's no. How do you think he would have reacted to that news? Do you think he would have jumped up and said, "Holy shit, let's act"? Or do you think he'd be like, meh? His initial response, ladies and gentlemen, was to kiss Xi Jinping's ass. Look at his Twitter feed, or look at the press conferences. They're doing a great job. It's a China thing. Xi's awesome. Great backswing. Love Xi. Talk to him. He's great. Everything's fine. He downplayed it. And 2 weeks ago, China did a great strategic move and started doing the whole, we don't know where this began, but we think it was probably the U.S. military dropped this thing in Wuhan. Holy shit. Now he's calling it the China flu, trying to do the, I know you are, but what am I? And he looks foolish. It looks bad now. That ship sailed, Mr. President. So I'm still hearing from Secretary Mnuchin. I mean, that not from him personally, but the people in the know and just his public comments that we're going to keep markets open. I mean, you have to. Markets aren't an airplane. Markets aren't a restaurant. They're electronic. I'm sitting here trading my ass off in our afterburner thread, and reminder, in 1 hour and 13 minutes, it goes up to $20,000 until September 30th. We are sitting in here in the afterburner trading room, trading our rear ends off. After the closing bell today, it would be $20,000 for until September 30th, and our lifetime memberships are also going up to $20,000 at the closing bell, unless you guys have reached out to me and you're kind of waiting. It's funny because it went from $8,000 a couple weeks ago. Now it's up to 20, and might even go higher because the information we're getting out there. And a lot of people on that thread are adding intelligence. We got doctors, we got judges, we got fighter pilots, we got airline pilots, moms, dad. We have a star from Hollywood, from CBS SEAL team, who's in the afterburner program. But what am I getting at? Shutting down markets, it makes zero sense. You want to talk about civil unrest and a panic? You wake up tomorrow and the government says, yeah, your brokerage account is locked up and so are your bank accounts. Does that make any sense? That ain't going to happen. Markets need to be able to fail. The reason we are seeing this violent of a sell-off is because not everybody gets a trophy. I've lost, I'm a professional. I do this for a living. I don't know. I've lost count of what the Fed's doing. I don't even know what they're doing. Every 15 minutes, my phone's buzzing with new intel about what the Fed's doing. And you ready for this? Nobody cares. I told you the Fred Sanford would happen when the Federal Reserve, when we got into a real shitstorm, not the financial shitstorm in 2008, a real one, and they started blasting money at the market, and it didn't care. The Federal Reserve looks like they are in absolute panic. I just completely disagree with the response of the president. I got it wrong earlier in the week. I think it was Tuesday, but I know secondhand from somebody who is very in the know that the president, literally walking down the hallway, changed his mind about locking down the government. He's like, nah, I'm not going to issue a federal quarantine. When I say federal quarantine, folks, I'm not talking about quarantining America. He can't unless he invoked martial law. So you know what he's doing? First of all, he said, oh, the market's going to crash if I do that. Duh. So he wanted to punt a federal quarantine to when? When he sits down with his Nancy Pelosi impeachment pen and signs the bailout bill. It's still not done, folks. They're still talking about it. They stand on stage, folks, and tell you not to be in groups of 10 in public, and they're on the stage like 10 people. It's absolutely insane. The president has punted his responsibilities at the federal level essentially to the states. Governor Cuomo and Governor Newsom, I can't even believe these words are coming out of my mouth. They're actually doing right. I don't know where Ron DeSantis is. Navy guy, governor of Florida, asleep at the switch. I don't not know why. I got my car and did my little intel drive. People are still out in Boca Raton, and this needs to happen, and it needed to happen a month ago. EWZ. So we're in. I explained yesterday as one of the reasons I'm getting in EWZ puts. I got a buddy works for the chief of staff of the Brazilian Air Force. They're using the ML words. They're using martial law. Bolsonaro is in free fall. Coronavirus thumps Brazil, prompting nationwide cries of Bolsonaro out. That dude's a former Army paratrooper, and he ain't messing around. I got a lot of contacts in South Florida and Brazil who are keeping me in the know. Many of you know that 3-4 years ago, I worked with JBS. I gave keynotes in Canada, the UK, America, for the second largest food company in the world. And let's just say I got a pretty good wire into what's going on politically down there. So we got some disaster puts on in case Brazil implodes. I think the latest count is over 1,000 people in Brazil. If you've never been to Brazil, beautiful country, beautiful people, great food. But driving in between Sao Paulo and Santos, we passed on the highway these favelas, these shanty towns that were like 20 stories high. I'm like, are there elevators? No, there's like ladders. A pandemic gets out in a country like Brazil, and it's look out below. I just can't even. I weep. I weep for what's going on in the world, and it's just this is bad, folks. And I'm going to tell you that, where's the good news, Wiz? The good news clearly is we're going to get out of this. The good news is if your 401k is a 01k and you're a long-term investor, you're going to be fine. As a matter of fact, you're going to be better than fine. It's going to bounce higher than where it imploded. But it ain't going to be a V. Fred Smith at FedEx is wrong. The president is wrong. I don't even think it's going to be a U. I think we're going to be, an L. Straight down, sideways for a while. Folks, everyone's asking for a bailout. The CEO of AMC Theaters, like, our theaters are closed, our employees need to be paid. And I told you earlier in the week, I had a call with a buddy of mine who's an economist. He's like, Wiz, the math physically doesn't work out. The United States of America doesn't have enough money to do what it would be required. Essentially, pretend this isn't going on for a month and pay everybody. How's that going to work? And they already announced today that they're going to do a means test for the checks. I think it was $100,000. So if you make more than $100,000, you ain't getting a check. You're paying for everybody else to have a check, which in a time of national shit show, I got no problems with. But at the end of the day, I kind of have a little bit of a problem with that. Why? Because the people that make the most money in this country pay the damn taxes. We can talk about it over beer sometime. My brother-in-law, really smart dude. He's like, why aren't we running the country like a business? Like shareholders. If you pay a shitload of money, you get a shitload of shares. If you don't, you don't. People that add absolutely nothing to society and are a drag on society, they should have a vote. It makes no sense to me. I just posted on my Facebook page this generational war. This is an absolute disgrace, folks. We will remember. Let me bring this up. You got to go on Instagram. You got to go on my Facebook page here, my personal one. Because this Instagram clip like interviews all these kids down in Miami doing the whole, if I get it, I get it. I don't care. They have parents, they have grandparents, and they're walking deadly pathogens. They're potential, literally human hand grenades. And they're like, nah, screw it. We're going to keep on partying. So if that was China, they would have thrown those kids in the back of a truck and you'd never see them again. Here, at the end of the day, now the selling is accelerating. I just saw a big sell orders flash across my screen. Remember, folks, at 2:30 in the afternoon, what happens? At 2:30 in the afternoon, margin calls come out. Look at this. Meaning, holy crap, man, people were hoping for a nice little rebound today, and here we go. Very, very happy with the work we've done this week. Our afterburner trading guys and gals are having an absolute blast in here. We are sharing intel and we are making money. Down goes Frazier. Woohoo! Folks, a friend of mine once said a joke to me. He's like, why is divorce so expensive, Wiz? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, because it's worth it. Afterburner trading actually is not expensive based on what we're doing in there, the intelligence that we're putting out, and it's more than it's paid for like 18 years of the service based on the trades we've covered this week. We got in and out of a bear call spread on Brazil and the S&P 500 today. It was like 15 grand, essentially paid for afterburner trading. Wow, I think we're gonna accelerate really fast into the close here. Whoa. All right, I got to go. I got to manage some positions, man. Told you. Well, that's EWZ. Let's take a look at the SPX. EWZ is starting to implode here. It looks like the S&P 500 too. Man. All right, great day, and it sucks. Can't stand it. Shitty press conference out of the president, yelling at reporters, not the steady hand that we needed. Shitty day for America, for the world. But at the end of the day, it was a fantastic day here at Top Gun Options. You have got to get airborne and take control of your finances. I got furloughed on 9/11. After I stopped feeling sorry for myself, I started trading full time, and here I am. Went from being on unemployment in the state of Texas. I still have one of the check stubs. I'm like, I'm going to save this. I was on unemployment, folks. I lost my job after 9/11 and ended up helping to essentially run a multi-billion-dollar options trading firm in Chicago. I wish I was in Colorado. So go.topgunoptions.com/FT-order. That's for full throttle max. I think we're raising that at the closing bell today to I think that's going up another $2,000. And solo Amazon. This is the service that we do every Monday at 3 o'clock where we just trade Amazon, and also the XLY, which is an ETF that acts as a good proxy for Amazon. Go.topgunoptions.com/solo annual. Man, we are zipping down. Sweet. Absolutely love it. Here's an Obama teachable lesson for you folks. I had 2,300 puts on today that people, and I think in the ready room, like, oh my God, these things are awful, like a couple hours ago. If you could, seriously, we might be below 2,300 at the close here. I never close. The only time I close puts is for nice profit. I never close puts. I bought them for a reason, and I hold them. So here we go, down 82 points on the S&P 500. Great day, shitty day for America. I'll do some videos over the weekend when I get a chance, if I get a chance, because I'm going to be hanging out with my family. And I'll see you guys some other time. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and God bless. I'll see you guys later.